going to be a suggestion for my what area requires complete surrender from the universe? And as I'm dealing these cards here to get your choices together, I remember a long time ago an interview with Madonna on TV, and she was asked a similar question, and for some reason she's speaking normally, I say like I am, but I don't know, and she whispered and she went, my ego, my ego. But it was the way she whispered. I always thought, oh, how unusual. Anyway, we've all got egos, haven't we? We wouldn't be here if we didn't. Let's just see if there's more subtleties in these spreads to find out something that we can let go, that's going to free us up in some way. Something where we're banging our head against a brick wall, repeating over and over again. Number 1 is the Moon card. So emotions, secrets, holding on to people. What else is the Moon? Quiet drive, creativity, that type of thing. Number 2 is the Hierophant. That's control to me. The Hierophant card can often be an element of control, of, again, wanting to have boundaries around things, wanting to organise things into structure so that they have a meaning for you, possibly. Also holding on to power in some way and not giving it out. I know that may seem a little bit too grand there, but it can be, I don't know, you can put it into smaller everyday situations, I guess. Yeah, you can. And the last one is the 4 of Cups. So, complete surrender. That could be a case of feeling stale in life, of feeling what's next a lot of the time, trying to move life quite quickly. So you could have quite, whizzy energy in some way and always trying to, what's next? I was planting this morning. I don't even see my nails. I love flowers. I love colour. But I'm not really into gardening. And I could tell when I was doing it, I've been putting bulbs in, I was like counting it down, like reps in a gym. It was like, right, 1, 2, 3, this bulb, 1, 2, 3. And I was like, just enjoy it. You're outside. It's freezing. Anyway, those are your 4 cards. The Moon card, the Hierophant card, the 4 of Cups. So if you want to take your choice, and we'll have a look. My gosh, okay, I've got so many words in my head and thoughts. I'm going to start talking. I know that one word here is going to sound very rude, and I don't mean it to be. I just know that it will, and it's not. I just can't think of a different word, and if I think too hard, I'll lose my other thoughts. The journey between the Moon and the Sun was the second card that, your first choice, wasn't it? And the second card that came out. To me, this is how I'm because of the rest of the spread, the Moon to me is like covered. It feels like it's misty, that you can't see it. It's like a clarity. The Sun card is openness. It's the new child on the horse. It's like, here I am, I've got nothing on. This is me. You've got here the Knight of Swords in the centre card. Somebody slicing through life with regards to how they communicate and their speech. You've got here, this is the word I didn't want to use, infantile. You've got an infantile card here, and walking away from that. And then you've got the Emperor in the centre pile. Is always the most important. You've got the Emperor in the centre pile who owns himself. The Emperor is masculine energy. It's the number 4. It's structure. It's taking. It's not form. Form can be something inside yourself, like you form your personality, but it's actually structure. It's structure in this world in a very masculine sense. And I don't mean masculine that you have to go around waving your willy. I didn't actually mean that. I just used to be in school with a boy called Stephen Bassnett, who used to run around the playground with his willy hanging out when I was young, very young. But the Emperor card is somebody who pushes out into life without apologising. That's what I meant, and it got interpreted in my mind to Stephen Bassnett. This infantile card here, which we don't like infantile, we've got the Page of Wands. And to have this very masculine, I'm communicating, this is me, no apologies. This Page of Wands becomes experimental rather than infantile. There you are, I got it out. That's the really strong feeling in this pile. To translate what I've just said, is there something that needs complete surrender? It's wanting to make sense, wanting to be accepted, wanting to come across as if you are bright, clever, well thought out. Forget it. It's like, it's not that you're not, it's just that you don't need to explain that to anybody. Because the reason that I'm saying that is because of the communication, the Sword card here, the Emperor card being very self-sufficient, very strong, and the experimental feeling here. It's like through life we tend to think that everything needs to be packaged really nicely to be delivered, including our personalities, and we're not. We're on a journey down here, which to me is really, really exciting. And when I'm saying that, I'm actually getting prickly back. To me, this is the most exciting thing. And sometimes I keep thinking, oh, that is really exciting. And most of the time I feel horrendously sloppy. For instance, yesterday I did 2 videos. One took me 2 days to do because I had to edit it, and I had to interlink computer, and I had to interlink bits of a talk show with a guy from Saltburn, and putting it all together and trying to find the astrology behind it. And then I've looked at it last night and I think, God, I can't put that out. I can't remember people's names. It's awful. And I can't. There's about 4 names just can't get out of my mouth. And I think I'm going to do it anyway. To be honest, it got picked up for copyright this morning, but we might be able to change it. But this is you. It's the same thing. It's like, the Four of Pentacles here. Sorry, this is exciting. The Four of Pentacles here is you holding on and sitting on something, sitting on that YouTube video, thinking, well, is it good enough? And it's not expressive at all. It's like I'm holding on to form. I'm holding on to what I can do, and I'm going to keep it to myself. And it's shutting yourself off from experimenting. It's shutting yourself off from other people, because you've got the Hermit card. You're on a journey, but there's heartache in that. There will be heartache. There will be people that message and say, that was a load of crap. You couldn't even get this person's name out. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I did it. And that is what your spread is about. You've got the World card here underneath the Hermit. It's like wrapping something up. It's like the journey is beginning. There will be pain on it, but you've got to stop holding on. We've got to stop holding on. The journey is expression. It's expression. It's feminine and masculine, isn't it? It's form as in inside yourself, and being receptive and understanding yourself and growing. Well, I guess is a soul's journey. But the Sun card as well is expressing yourself on earth too. The more masculine part of yourself, but actually makes structures and boundaries, and the Empress being the partner actually flourishes. Oh my gosh, I love this. Anyway, the Nine of Cups here is where your happiness will be found when you let go of the perfection. And this has a lot to do with expression. It's finding your voice. If you were the child that when you're in class and the teacher said, why isn't anybody putting their hand up? You could very possibly have been the child that didn't put their hand up. And when you were asked, you may have felt awkward or stuttered or gave an answer that you thought was expected rather than expressing what was inside yourself. The Nine of Cups here, your happiness is going to be found when you surrender to understanding that it's okay to talk shit. It's okay to deliver crap at times, as long as you're moving forward in your self-expression and forming something in your life that makes sense to you. You've got here walking away, and that to me is walking away from that infantile feeling at the beginning here of holding on until it's perfect. And then the card at the end is glorious, because you've got the Six of Wands, and in there you will be standing in your full glory and saying, look what I did. not look what I held on to, or look what people think of me. You don't want to get to this like false, I'm going to start ranting now, this false glory of everybody thinks I'm wonderful. I'm just wonderful at this job, because that's when Chiron plays its part. Chiron is when you build yourself up and you think, look at me with all these skills. I'm a musician, I'm a healer, what else did Chiron do? But he's got his own wound, and that will come back and bite. And this wound here is like holding on to not being yourself totally with regards to speaking your truth and saying your opinions, talking, expressing your opinions. Expressing yourself through your mind and your thoughts and your speech and your communication, and maybe your writing even in this here. And as I was saying here with this false sort of glory, what happens, and Will Smith is a great example of this, and I can remember doing his chart when it happened, and Chiron, ranting on about Chiron all the way through that, saying, well, Chiron's very prominent in this. It's because he's there in front of all his peers who are in Hollywood, what he's wanted. He's got the form he wanted, but he's still got the pain inside him from his difficult childhood, trying to protect his mother. Ping comes in Chiron and you fall down. So you want the Six of Wands for you to be happy in your progress internally and externally, but not just externally. You've got to be yourself. So I hope that made some sort of sense. To summarise here, the question was, what area requires my complete surrender from the universe? That's to be seen as competent by other people. Surrender that, let it go. To try to not experiment, or to not be childlike with regards to your creative exploring, I suppose, in life, through fear of being laughed at or ridiculed. Let that go. To take control of who you are, to find clarity in what you want in life, and to move through with experimentation and playfulness. And that's where your Nine of Cups and your Six of Wands lie. Leaving behind that childlike is quite sweet, really. This can often be from wanting to please a parent. This type of feeling of being blocked. It's like saying the right things, so mummy or daddy loves you. And you probably, if you're watching this, probably a bit too old now. It's like you've got to get, the emperor, you're in charge of yourself. So what do you want? Who do you want to be? What do you want to express? What have you got inside you that you want to say? So the next person that asks your opinion, and you don't have to be rude, but you can say, well, no, actually, I think differently from you. This is mine. And that's where your happiness lies. And that's when you burn through life rather than holding on, waiting to see what everybody else is thinking. This is glorious end. You trapping through life on the back of a horse. It's victory. It's victory in your own expression. So what you need to surrender in one sentence is lack of self-expression. Lack of thinking you won't be accepted if you are exactly who you want to be. And I know that's easy to say, and I know that it is the Hermit card, it's a complete journey. But your journey to me in this spread is like, it needs to be wrapped up now. It's like you're definitely onto a next step where you're taking charge. And that's where you're going to find that you are the Sun card, you are the centre, rather than looking at everybody else as if they're the centre and you just want to be the planet that that is pulled into the gravity and moves around them. You're the centre. Okay, pile number one, I'm going to leave you there. I hope that helps. I'm going to love you and leave you. Bye. Okay, I'm going to talk, and let me get these straight. I don't know, to be honest, as yet. You've got a really warm, gentle feeling in here. So I don't know what that's got to do with surrendering as yet. Let me go through it. and tell you what I'm thinking. I can't think of how to pronounce this word. Intermediary, in the middle. I honestly can't think of how it's said. You've got the Hierophant card and the Justice card here and the Queen of Swords. So to me, that's like somebody in the middle. It's like somebody who's making a choice, somebody that's handing information, or somebody that's trying to see that something is just. You know, this can almost be like a court case type of feeling here. And you've got heaviness here. So, and you've got 2 tens at the top. So this is like an accumulation of something. Thoughts in here possibly could be to do with somebody judging, possibly court, divorce springs to mind here with the Hierophant, the Justice card here, and the 2 of Cups and the Page of Cups here to do with children, and it weighing quite heavy. So possibly could be a difficult situation in life, maybe to do with court proceedings here. Maybe still be ongoing with the 8 of Wands down here. Now, that is a possibility. You've got Mercury here again, which is the mind, to be honest. And then this is where it gets all quite smooth. You've got the Ace of Pentacles here and the Page of Pentacles. Both of these cards are depicted by somebody almost like flourishing, but in a very earthy way. And that can be taken literally, finding some enjoyment in earth, in your garden, in sort of landscape gardening, or in I don't know, even like forestry or something like that, or doing something that involves the earth. It could even be like building, you know, that type of earthy activity, but that's not answering the question. So I really am just thinking aloud here. Then you've got movement, again with an angsty type feeling. These cards here speak of like heaviness and voices that are frayed and things that are expressed where people have to take a diplomatic stance or it all goes wrong. And you've got this feeling here with a healing feeling to do with children and accumulation of finances or family here. And the Hermit card is internal and using your mind. Both the Hermit and Mercury, well, they're linked, aren't they? Because Mercury rules the Hermit card, Virgo here. That to me, this is what my feelings are at the moment. And as you can tell, this is like a digging through it and trying to understand it as you're going through, which is probably not very professional, but it's sometimes you just get spreads like that and there's no other way, and it basically builds and then you get the answer as you're moving through. What I've got so far, the question is, what do you need to surrender to? This is outward circumstances. This is struggling with difficult situations, relationships involved with children. It doesn't have to be court proceedings, but it's almost like trying to find some sort of level ground in relationships, possibly with a Hierophant. Something that's formed, something that is trying to find fairness. Words may be exchanged, and a lot of the time those words can be quite painful, possibly with the Queen of Swords there. And there may be, as I said, family or children involved. There's a feeling here that you get some form of ease, or you get some form of what I guess is quite self-expression. Maybe when you're on your own, maybe when you are in these sort of like floristry or in these like earthy type situations, just being close to the earth, walking by the sea. I know that is by the sea, but just being out in fresh air and away from a screen. And I'm not going to say that because you probably watch this on a screen, but screens should be treats. I always think treats at the end of a day or a special moment, but this to me is saying that you become more alive or more yourself when you're actually outside in the earth, in the elements, forming something, growing something, experiencing life and, say fresh air. Maybe here with these cards here next to these cards here, this is like healing and movement, and that is like a bit like these cards here of antagonism. Okay, it's coming to me slowly. This is quiet time. This is healing. This is RC people. This could be one of these spreads where you put a lot of effort into security. Tens, the Hierophant, Taurus. Money is important to Taurians because it gives them security. They don't like to feel like that. But I feel that maybe it would be a good idea, as we're talking about surrendering, to find not just a sideline, but a real structure in your life that is just your own, away from needs and wants of yourself and others. To me, there's a strong feeling of others in here because of the Tens being possibly family, and the Page of Cups being children. There's a strong need to not just be a provider in this. There's a strong need here with the Mercury and the Hermit card to, it's like surrendering to spirit in some way. It's like realising that you may be playing the earthly game and you may be very good at it, but I feel that it's almost leaving you, it's draining you in some way, that you're going to lose your understanding of why you're here in the first place if you carry on. So the surrendering would be to not play the outside game so well. And because of the Hierophant card here, being Taurus, and it's like maybe you provide for lots of different people. Maybe you provide comfort or financial security, or you are the person that takes a lot of responsibility. Maybe at this time in your life, it's your time to surrender that. Especially the Ten of Cups here and the Page of Cups being family and children. If your children are getting older, if you have children, it doesn't have to be that. You could be, 16, but it's let other people get on with it now. If your kids are older, let them take more responsibility. If you've got people that lean on you, if you don't have family or children that close, or asking for those qualities from you, don't get involved. Don't get involved with other people's drama. If people can solve it themselves, sit back, let them do it. And that is their journey. I say this to my kids. I mean, they're young, so it's not that they have, obviously not got their own kids. And they come back very occasionally. They're not very dramatific, but they come back and they say, oh, my best friend is going through this with his girlfriend. And I said this. I said, well, you can help, but listen. Ground advice for me. You can help, but allow him or her to, have their own journey too. Give them a little prod if you've got something that you feel may help, but let them discover it. So don't get over involved. Don't keep coming back. And, that is what this spread here is saying to me. Find your own quiet time, ground yourself, and in that will be the journey that you need, because I feel that you've been sidetracked with it by everybody else's needs. And this is to surrender to not being the centre with the Ace here. Surrender is a difficult one because I've read the spread and then I've got to translate it to answer it. It's to ground yourself in who you are, and again, a strong feeling of the world doesn't have to evolve around you totally. You've got to let things. It's almost, because this is like a ball in the centre, and it looks like the sun to me. It's like I want to pull these cards away from it. That's what it feels like I want to do. As in, you pull situations to you because you're a nice person, because you're good, because you've got responsibilities and you take them seriously. But to me, this feels like you've just got to almost like pull back a little bit and surrender to possibly not being the centre, not being the matriarch of the family, or not being the centre in work, or it's like lose control a bit and go into yourself and just be. Just allow. This is like somebody really happy, growing plants, beauty around you, whether it's art, creativity, plants, your own private time to go inward. And I think this is where the Mercury and the Hermit come into play. There's something in, I always think, this is a bit, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking here. People find their God through expression. For instance, I've always been really interested in this type of thing, always since I've been young, in astrology, absolutely fascinated. And that's how I find my God, whatever God is. That's where I find my answers in life. And I feel that there's something bigger than myself. That may sound bad, but you know what I mean. It's like something that is outside of our normal world. Some people find God through nature, and this may be you. if you've got earth inside you. I always think, look at your ascendant. What's your ascendant ruler? So obviously, I'm answering the answer through, what I find important to me. Look at your ascendant ruler. Where does it fall? What type of element is it in? What house is it in? What sign is it in? That may be your answer. And I'm going to say that, I know it sounds dramatic, to your God, to finding that space. And that hermit is looking, searching for the answers. The Mercury, your mind is there to find your God. And I know that is, I don't mean the word God there. I don't know what I mean, but it's your path, maybe a better word there. So surrender to not being centre, surrender to not having all the answers, surrender to not being able to be there for everybody all the time, being everybody's middleman and trying to sort life out for them. Go inward, find what makes you tick and dissolve into it. Does that make sense? Whether it is, as we've just talked about, gardening, astrology, writing, singing, I don't know, but sink into it in the most beautiful, timeless way. That's what you need to surrender to, finding that time and not being sidetracked by the outside world and needs and responsibilities and love. You're there for them, but don't overdo it. Find this time, because to me, with these two cards at the end, this is your search for your understanding of yourself and life and what's after life and why you're here in the first place. Okay, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to say goodbye. Bye. Let me go through. Oh, so you can't even see it, can you? Let me just move these up for you. The excitement of that. I can tell you what I'm thinking. It may change here. So we're looking at what you need to surrender. What's the area that requires complete surrender from the universe? These are my thoughts. You've got the Four of Cups, which can often be a card of feeling disillusioned in life, a little bit flat at times, and we all go through those periods where we think, okay, what's next? I'm done with this bit. It's not really grabbing my interest. The Empress card is the complete opposite. The Empress card is really allowing things to flow out of you. Yeah, it's the Emperor card. The Empress and the Emperor are a pair, obviously. So the Fool card is raw spirit. It's like, okay, here it is. What you're going to do with this? This is just like, electric energy. The Empress card takes that energy and she pushes it outwards into beauty. Doesn't want to form anything. It's creativity. It's experimental, pushing out. The Emperor card takes the energy and then from the Empress tries to put that into form so it works. This is just you pushing out and playing. You've got cards here of pain next to sharing yourself possibly with other people here. The Temperance card can speak of that balance of sharing. Any sort of balance, to be honest, with the Temperance card. But to me, these two are balanced cards and it hurts. So the Ceres card here, to me, is you're a sensitive soul, that you like to nurture people, you like to feel nurtured. So you may be in situations, the Page of Cups here, you may give quite a lot of yourself to people. Whether you do it, whether you talk a lot or whether you keep yourself quiet, it doesn't really matter. It's probably a lot to do with expectations. It's a lot, when you see people, you may fall in love quite easily and you may be expecting that back. And sometimes that pain can somehow sit inside you when it's not, reciprocated. That type of feeling is what I've got here. And in that, when you go through quiet periods in life, when either love isn't reciprocated or there's no love there to play with, there's no creation going on, the Page of Cups here has got like sweetness and an innocence to it, you can feel flat. Because you can't nurture somebody and you're not being nurtured yourself. And so life can often feel like flatline. Yeah. Then you've got here the Queen. Yeah, I'm agreeing with myself. Then you've got the Queen of Pentacles here and the Page of Pentacles. So you're all Pentacles down here. So that is you more towards the beginning. That's the answer. And this is you moving slowly through life. You get the job done. these are all pentacle energies here. It's like skills and moving slowly and keeping going, but it feels listless is what I would say with these cards here, unless you are experiencing. So what do you need to surrender is probably the question. Let me keep going here. You're very much in charge of yourself. You know, everything around you probably fits into place and you look very proficient to everybody else. You're probably very bright and get your work done and people can rely on you with all this pentacle energy. And you move through life in what I guess is a very sort of orderly fashion. Pentacle, 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 movement, skills, and owning it, to be honest, the Queen of Pentacles there. Then you've got here, as I said, that feeling of nurturing, being nurtured, and an innocence in that and a need in that. But the Hermit card down here is saying something different. The Hermit card is saying, look inside yourself. That may not be the easiest path or the answer. I don't know yet because I haven't looked over here totally. You've got heartache here with finding a balance between giving too much or not enough. And the Seven of Cups here is saying, don't take it so seriously. This is to me what this pile says. What you need to surrender to is you need to express love, connection, attraction even, without putting an end product, without a product at the end. It's like, I've given to you. You can see that I like you, so what am I going to get back? It's like you can't do that. The Seven of Cups is just open and possibilities and probabilities. And that's what the Empress is saying as well. It's just open and giving out, not trying to formulate it into the Emperor. And this is you like paying through giving. You know, this could be, I don't really think this is the case, but I'm going to give an example. You could, even with these two cards here, hold on to past hurts. And I don't just mean in love relationships, but what so-and-so did to me when I was 10. You know, what so-and-so did to me in play school. You know, that type of thing. And my neighbours are such this and that. My neighbours are lovely. But, you know, I always come across people like that. It's like, well, who cares? The Seven of Cups is like, who cares? What did you give? Who cares what they give? But that's, you know, that's their journey, their prerogative or their priority. You know, it's up to them. This is all about you. So surrender to knowing whatever you're giving out is an expression of you, and that's where the Hermit card comes in the centre. That's where you use your mind and your understanding, and it's your journey only that's important, nobody else's. You know, when people are shits to you, more fool them. You're just like, you know, going down the wrong track there. And sometimes it's difficult because we do go downhill in life in general. But the people that are generally quite foul or difficult to get on with are either going through a difficult period or they're just a bit lost. And I don't mean that in some grand sort of esoteric way, but we all know what that feels like. You know, when we feel dour or we feel as if, you know, life has just, you know, lost its verve for a bit. But that isn't going to be the answer to finding it. The answer to is just expressing, pushing outwards just because you can. Just because you can, just because of who you are. And you have the ability. If you're here and you're healthy, you have the ability to do that with everybody that you meet, every situation, whether it's a really, you know, on the edge, an ego squashing situation, like you find somebody incredibly attractive. Maybe tell them, you know, I find you really attractive. Worse things have happened. It's lovely to be told that. I can't remember when I've been told that, but it is lovely to be told that, and it's lovely to be the teller. You know, that is your journey, to be the teller, the one that brings the energy through and pours out the Empress card, the beauty out into the world. So what you need to let go of, what you need to surrender to is allowing, being, expressing, creating, innocence, no holding on to see what you're going to get back or who's going to hurt you or what type of person they are, what type of person are you, and that's your journey, and play with it, the Seven of Cups here. This is like sensible, you're very sensible, and this is like not very sensible at the end. It's like, well, no, I'm not going to do that because it won't work and I'll feel drained. Fair enough, I understand that. But this is, to me, is like, still create. Don't just stay in the same same spot, still give out, still allow people to see who you are with regards to emotions and creativity, expressing your inside, whether it is very sort of measured, it doesn't really matter. And you can express yourself in many different ways. You know, this is, to me, I'm going to put this through a pentacle lens now. So let's just say there's pain here with regards to sharing yourself with somebody and you're trying to find the balance with the Temperance card here and you need a more playful attitude. Somebody with this energy, let's just say you found somebody really attractive. You wouldn't go up and say, look, you know, I think you're really attractive. You would go up and say, do you need me to help with this? You know, you'd put yourself on the line that way. That's how you'd be more open. Can I give you, you know, a lift with your bags, or do you need me to help with that paperwork, or I can fix this for you. You know, it's that pentacle energy likes to do things that are grounded and earthy rather than huge declarations of undying love. We'll leave that to the Neptune and the Sagittarians. Oh, don't we love them? So that's what I've got here. You need to surrender to not always wanting structure, wanting things to be reciprocated, go more into expression and expanding, and go more into emotional, yeah, that's contradicting that, isn't it? I was going to say innocence then. I was going to say emotional, but it is only a page. Go more into innocence and being like a child again with the Seven of Cups and playfulness, and maybe let's just have a crack at this. Let's have a go at that. So surrender to... Just surrender to that. I'm not going to say it again. I can try and formulate it so it sounds, you know, as if it's compact, but I hope you've got the meaning there. It's a lovely pile and sounds like fun to me. A ticket to fun here. A ticket to being and, yeah, expressing. So I'm going to leave you there, pile number 3. Thank you very much for sharing your time with me. Bye.